This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and The Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, it is autumn, pure and simple, as we travel through the United States and whatever country you're in, it's whatever season. But with that said, we're going to talk about seasons of what's happening on social media. And specifically, we're going to get into some things with Facebook and ads, but it's the season of how you become an influencer. How do people become aware of you? How do people want to engage with you? And if you have any products or services, and remember, product is a book, how do they become a raving fan that they not only get your book, but they tell others about your book? And there is a system to do that. We have today, for the hour, a system guy, and his name is Dan Kaufman. Now, Dan's expertise is marketing. And he's a marketing expert and a small business authority. And remember, as an author, you're running a small business, or I want you to be thinking that way. So he's owned several successful small businesses before establishing himself as a partner at Grow Now Marketing. He's a family guy. He works hard to create a thriving life for his 2 daughters and wife. And when he's not working, he's spending time with the kids. Grow Marketing was created out of his desire to work smarter, not harder, and to give his family as much of his time as he can. So whatever questions you have, you need to write them down. I know we don't do a call-in on this, but that more likely that we're going to pick up a lot of those questions, and you can contact Dan, and we'll give you the website. It's the Grow Now Marketing, how to reach out to him. Post the show, because there's a lot of things that we're going to be offering, and eventually we're going to be doing really a full-blown webinar with them. So Dan, welcome to Author You, your guide to book publishing.
Thanks for having me, Judith.
So let's jump in, and I will tell everyone I met Dan at the Author You extravaganza last month in Denver, Colorado, and he was one of the wows that you're thinking, I want to take this guy home with me and work with it. And he got into something called the marketing funnel. So I think, Dan, why don't we start with that? What is a funnel?
Absolutely.
What are the components of it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a funnel is not your traditional, you picture a funnel where you're siphoning a bunch of liquid and stuff in there. So yeah, a marketing funnel is actually very similar to that, but we've got it in essentially 4 different stages. We have generate, we have nurture, convert, and then ultimately profit. So essentially moving your potential prospects, potential buyers through a very specific process of not only being aware of who you are, and we'll go through some of those steps as we go through today, but essentially moving them from awareness to ultimately purchasing and then coming back as much as possible, whether that's through additional books in this case or additional products or services. So there's a very specific process that we like to go through.
All right. Well, why don't we just start with that process? And I think that a lot of, some of you may be doing a little bit of this, just a little bit of it, but I think that what we're trying to really not put, well, I'll just say push. What we're trying to push it and implement and execute for you is how you create it, and that's where people get stuck, Dan, I think.
Absolutely. It's that analysis paralysis, honestly. I think they use this big, huge marketing plan or funnel. And in reality, you can start off with a very simple plan of action. And, from a very simplistic standpoint, it all starts with content. And, without good content, you can't really get yourself out there. And content can come in a variety of different ways. It can come in through blog posts. It can come in through a radio show like this. It could come in through videos out on Facebook. I mean, there's a variety, any type of information that you can put out there can be content. And, the whole purpose of that content on the front end and the top end of that funnel and that generate an awareness stage is really for people to become aware of exactly who this person is and who we are.
And what you're about, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think one of the ahas, and that's what we have to do, break apart when you and I do some one-on-one time, is that I have, for example, on the Book Shepherd page, I give away as the hook, a 24-page PDF of what I call the 8 publishing essentials. And one of the things you said is you really ought to break this up. So do you want to talk about, because a lot of times people will give away several chapters of a book, for example, because they think that's an easy peasy thing to do. And I've always said, why don't you just give that on your book page and do something else? So they get a secondary. I think that's kind of a mistake as their opt-in type of thing.
Yeah.
But all right. So why don't we identify, Dan? What do you think in your years of experience of working with authors and small businesses? What are some of the ideal things that do bring the awareness, and then develop the relationship?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, in moving in that awareness stage, I mean, certainly you could have a snippet of, a free chapter of the book, but, that there is that potential of just, it's almost too much too soon. And, where you could have, in the case of a book, what's kind of the 5 takeaways that you're going to be getting from this book? Or an example of a blog post, if we're writing towards, let's just say business owners as an example, and that's in what you're writing your book about. What are some of the pain points that a business owner has on a day-to-day basis? It could be systems, it could be marketing, it could be sales, it could be employees. Identifying some of those key pain points and focusing in on one of those. So like I've written a blog post for one of our awareness pieces about how a lot of business owners, once they reach a certain growth pattern in their business, in the life cycle of their business, so they're out of the startup mode, they've reached a certain level of income, and for every business owner that's a little bit different, but they're busy, but they're doing a lot of busy work. And, it almost feels like, remember the Bill Murray movie, Groundhog Day?
Of course.
Yeah. So I themed it around there because it's kind of that proverbial, you get up, you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, putting out a lot of fires, and then you go to bed, and guess what? It all starts over again. So that was, that's a pain point for a lot of business owners, is they're living that proverbial, not only hamster wheel, but Groundhog Day, where they're living the same thing over and over again. So it was a short, probably 500-600 word blog post, but it really resonated with my audience. And guess what happened? I can now take them to the next stage of the funnel. I can also do that in a video too, as well.
All right. And do you, when you're talking about that next stage, so what you're doing is instead of unloading the whole thing, like what you saw on mine, I gave you everything all at once. Maybe you just give them one, and then maybe, once they sign up for it, you dribble. Are we starting to do what they call a drip campaign?
A drip campaign, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, the next stage, once we've got them aware, we now want to ask them for their information. So like their email address, and that's, you can give them some additional information, like you had mentioned, kind of dripping on them with an email campaign. So that could be a checklist or a guide or a cheat sheet of some sort. And now, so we've given them something of value in return for something that we want, which is their contact information. So now we can then turn that into our email system and start dripping content out to them. That's just emails, whether that's video, pushing them to Facebook Live, a radio show, or your book page as well. But it's a process of, you know, we've established our relationship. We're starting to establish our relationship now, and we want to take it a step further by providing even more value. We're not necessarily asking for the sale right now. That's where a lot of people miss the mark. You know, we want that revenue and that income like as quickly as possible, but a lot of us skip too many steps and ask for the sale too soon. If we deliver good, valuable content, we will turn a lot more of our prospects into customers and paying customers at that.
So I think that, I mean, I've certainly observed it, that it is such a huge turnoff, especially because the social media is the town hall for most authors in their marketing, is that it's buy me, buy me, buy me. Now, I know that when people have special sales days or launch days or a free day, you're going to overload, you know, you are going to put out more, but it's always buy, buy. And what you're talking about is stop it. Correct? Yes.
Slow down is probably the even better way to put it. Yeah, we need to take a couple steps back and just, you know, ease into that sales process, because people, you know, gone are the days where people sign up for email newsletters right off the bat, where they're signing up for things. They're a lot more in tune with marketing lingo and language, so they're a little bit more skeptical. So you need to provide a lot more value on the front end before you can then, in turn, ask for them to purchase and pull out their credit cards.
And so you're just not another pitch man, another salesperson that they're running around.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've had the same discussion just with the whole publishing community, that there is just so much free stuff out there that people don't know which way to go. And, of course, most of it's designed to hook someone and then sell something right away. But it's just an overload. It truly is an overload in a lot of cases with that, where you go. So the dripping is what? You want to give away a lot of stuff. It's like courtship. It's like dating.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great example.
All right, so you have to date your potential buyer. And so you bring them candy, or you bring them flowers, or you take them to a sporting event. So how do you translate that into the marketing world? We're going to be right back. With us is Dan Kaufman of Grow Now Marketing, and we're talking about how to become a top influencer in your field.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
With me is Dan Kaufman, and he's a marketing expert and really all about growing a small business with that. And that's what authoring is on that. And what we're really talking about, the analogy is that when you are developing relationships with potential buyers, it's like dating, but don't move so fast. And that's really what Dan is saying. It's as little steps at a time. It's courtesies, it's the thank yous, it's like a courtship. So you're really giving before you ever expect to get anything. And I think that's what we want to really emphasize. Would that be correct, Dan?
Absolutely. I mean, you want to move in baby steps and deliver a lot of front end value. And it's not just good content. It's actually standing for something very specific, and not necessarily not even being afraid of being a little bit controversial too. I mean, it's
I love controversy.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much information out there. It's how do you stand apart from all of that information and stand above and beyond that? Because, everybody has tips, everybody has a book, so what can you do to stand out and really hone in on who exactly your target market is, which I think is a really good transition to this is, who did you write your book for? Do you have an idea of who that person is? What kind of lifestyle do they live? What do they drive? What do they do on a day-to-day basis? Because the more you know about that person, the more you can gear your content specifically towards them. And guess what? You're going to be attracting those people more closely towards you, and obviously detracting a lot of the other people that, aren't going to be a good customer for you anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'm thinking about, for example, in my own case, that I am what's kind of sets me apart is I am very vocal against the publishing predators. I will go after them. I will call them by the name. I hate what they do in gouging newbie and naive authors and take them to the cleaners. That they literally destroy almost the relationship they have with their book and zap their passion. So I go after that aggressively. But, and it's important for all of you to know, I know who my books are for. For example, my books are for people who want to publish successfully. So there's, whether it's crowdfunding or it's publishing tips or, the new one I'm doing is, how do you write the perfect speech to sell 1 million books? That's what I'm after. All right, so you've got those, and what you need to recognize that your books are not for everyone. And I think, Dan, that's one of the biggest problems so many authors have. They think that everyone is going to love their stuff, and they're not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. They want to catch everybody instead of really, if you're writing to a very specific core audience, and you really dive deep into knowing exactly who that is, you're going to sell books in that particular niche. And that's really what you should go for, because you've got the Tim Ferrisses of the world. You have, the book. I mean, you look at like the Joel Osteen books. I mean, Harry Potter books. I mean, those are for a very broad audience, but if you gear it towards a very specific segment of that audience, you're going to have a lot more success instead of trying to go extremely broad.
That's where I always say it's so much really easier to become the whale in the pond versus the sardine in the sea.
Yeah,
So I want people to
exactly.
stop thinking little and sardini. Think big and whale.
Hmm.
That's
Yes,
what you're after.
exactly.
All right. So that's what marketing experts like Dan do, is to teach you how to do that in that. So we've got the awareness, and we're talking about dripping it along. And then you
Yep.
go into, and that's really the nurturing. Isn't that the nurturing side of it?
Exactly. The
Okay.
nurturing and the consideration stage where they're
Hmm.
starting to now associate you with what solution you actually have to offer, whether it's a book, to be entertained. In my case, where we provide marketing and consulting, it's, what kind of solution can I offer specifically for their business?
Hmm.
And, this is where you want to really supply them with a lot of good content that helps, you're pushing some of the pain points that are happening within their particular life. And, that helps them really kind of be drawn more closely towards you. So it goes back to exactly what we were just talking about just a few moments ago about, really knowing exactly who your audience is. And it's not just the surface level stuff of, okay, they work this type of job. It's really what keeps them awake at night. What does your solution offer to them that can help with that? So the more you dive into that, the better you're going to be able to write to that specific group of people, especially in that consideration stage where now they're really looking and becoming more aware of not only what you have to offer, but what everybody else within your particular niche stuff is doing as well. So they're going to start seeing those things. It's kind of like driving a car. I had my car's in the shop, so I've got this little Chevy. Have you seen these little Chevy Sparks? That's like this little
Yep.
itty bitty car,
Hmm.
and I've never noticed it before, but as soon as I got it, within a couple of days, I started seeing all these other cars. So now I'm a lot more aware of that particular car. The same thing goes when people are starting to become more aware of your product or service. They're becoming more aware of what's going on around them, not only you, but everybody else as well, your competitors.
Uh-huh. Well, when you mentioned the car scenario, I remember when we were looking for just a really sturdy, stable car for my daughter years and years and years and years ago. And I happened to have dinner with one of the head honchos with Hertz, and he said, "Here's the car you want. Here is our workhorse in the fleet,
Yep.
the standard car."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Never, we don't have problems with it. It's consistent, and that's what we ended up getting her."
Absolutely.
So there's different ways to go about this. All right, so
Yep.
then we transition into the conversion factor.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got them along. You've kind of set yourself up, the differentiations that are, and using the contouring mode, which I'm a huge supporter of. Don't try to look like everyone else. If you've got an opinion,
Yep.
state it, because there are some
Absolutely.
ones out there that are looking for you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Standing apart is your best thing, and because you are you, and there's nobody else like you out there. So you use that to your fullest extent possible, and because everybody's there's 5 other competitors very similar to you, and there's a whole bunch of other people lined up behind you, but nobody else can present it the way you do. And if you're quirky, use that quirkiness, because people are going to be drawn to that. Are you going to be able to have everybody that wants your product or service or book? Absolutely not. But who cares? You're drawing in those people that actually are your ideal prospect and customer. So,
Mm-hmm.
in that conversion stage, it's pretty simple. We're asking them to make a commitment, and that's a financial commitment of pulling out their credit card, and in this case, buying your book or buying your product or buying your service. And it's, if we've done the steps leading up to this, it's pretty much a no-brainer. They know, and you want to let them know that they are making the right decision too. So in certain cases, that's book reviews, which we talked a lot about at your event at Author U Extravaganza. How important reviews are, and even video testimonials, but just, again, going back to knowing exactly who your customer is, if you're able to hit those pain points, it's a hands down win-win situation for everybody. I mean, you've spoken to them. They know it's a good situation to buy your product or service. So let them know that you're doing that. So, and, you can do that through a variety of different ways. I mean, I'm a big fan of Facebook advertising, and, you can do that through a webinar by, presenting the pain points, presenting your solution, with a book or your service, or you direct them right to an order form, or, if you have your book on Amazon, direct them right to the Amazon link and purchase. So this stage is probably the easiest one out of the bunch, honestly.
The conversion stage?
Yeah, just be, because again, if we've done all these stuff, if we've done the awareness stage and the nurturing stage correctly, it's it's an easy win for us. Like I said, we'll be able to, now we're able to present that offer because we've done our job on the front end, delivering good, valuable content and value. So it's a no-brainer for them to purchase. And they're probably asking, okay, where can I buy if they haven't found it already?
Okay, so I have a question because I'm sure you see them. I'm bombarded. One of the things that I do first thing in the morning is I go through several hundred emails and it's delete. And that a lot of them are pitching stuff. And one of the questions I have about so much of the online marketing, which has become a huge operation, that a lot of times you really don't know these people. They may be offered by someone you know. So maybe you're able to bridge quicker the relationship. But are they coming too fast sometimes with what they offer online? Or is because you are introducing them, the trust relationship is already there. So if you're recommending and if it solves something in your pain portfolio that you should jump in, help me understand this.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely want to. I mean, you don't want to hesitate about putting your offer in front of people. I mean, in email is a prime example. I mean, I'm a big proponent of making sure you're putting an offer out there as much as possible in email because everybody's at different stages in the buying cycle.
Okay,
so,
Dan,
can
you hold that for a sec? Because we're going to need to take a quick break.
Yeah.
I think this is an important
for sure.
point. All right. This is Author You, your guide to book publishing. I'm Judith Riles. With me is Dan Kaufman, and we're talking about how to excel at marketing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
I always love some of the conversations I have with my guest off the air when we come back on. And one of the things I shared with Dan is, because he opened up the Facebook window, and I understand that Facebook is important. I understand that Facebook is, especially for some types of books and some genres, there's people do hanging out there. For me, Facebook has always been kind of an energy suck, because it's easy to go in and all of a sudden, my God, there's an hour is gone. So if I can think of one social media entity that is a time killer, productivity killer, I would have to put it on Facebook. And maybe Instagram is coming up. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
That's what
they're both kind of tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've always been a Twitter person, because I can put stuff up fast, bang, 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 bang. I can schedule it out. Damn, I'm out. Or I can have my VA. I create it and my VA does it. Yep. So, yeah, it's a different.
One of the things that I do for that is I schedule time. I schedule time twice a day to just, for 15 minutes, and there's a start time and there's a stop time, and I put a timer on when I get into Facebook, and I'll go through the news feed, and I do have, and when you mentioned the VA too, I mean, this is a great use of a VA is if there's specific groups, Facebook groups that your target audience is, where there's some potential possible business coming in from there, have your VA check that more often and report back to you, just so you can make your time more useful and more valuable. But having that kind of that start time and stop time and scheduling it and actually holding yourself to it is a game changer.
Well, I think that's critical for everyone. The other thing I shared with Dan, that I took myself off Messenger on Facebook, because I was getting, hey babe, let's meet messages, and I was getting a variety of different messages. But I found that a phenomenal interrupter, from blocking people to getting off, and I just disconnected the damn thing. And everyone has to do what works for them. But I think that when you look at where your kiss off time goes, we only have so many hours in a day. And I've always felt that if you dedicated a solid hour to marketing each day, just 1 hour, you can do amazing things. But the problem is you get waylaid along the way. So.
Yeah. And, it goes back to what we just talked about with scheduling it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't matter what, if you didn't get there, and Dan Kennedy talks about this too. I mean, he always does it as one marketing activity that can grow or potentially grow his business. And if it's 11:58 on Christmas Day and you haven't done that marketing activity, guess what? Make sure you do it. Because it's those small little things, was it Clement Stone that said small hinges swing big doors?
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a prime example of that. Just doing, like you said, Judith, 1 hour of marketing or one marketing activity, whether it's reaching out to 3 or 4 prospects or sending that email out, putting that valuable piece of content out, or doing a video. Something that can grow your business. It might not pay off immediately, but you got to look at it from a long-term perspective as well.
And because, and I'm, Dan, for marketing, I still believe in snail mail. I'm a postcard user.
Absolutely. I love direct mail.
I love, because there's so much less of it, number one. And so I pay attention to it. And I have a campaign that I have had a couple of specific postcards created that I sent out, and it's for speaking. It's at writers' conferences and things. And this morning in my email was Alaska, saying, we'd love to bring you into Alaska next September. Can you come? Mm-hmm. Yes, I can.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's come back to Facebook ads, because they are big. And one of the things, here's one of my keepers. I came away from the extravaganza, is I will not spend one more dime on a boost, which I was doing to reach out and that. And this is really from meeting you, but I need to learn about how to create Facebook ads. And there's a strategy to them, of which I am not real proficient in. In fact, I'm ignorant. Okay, so unignorize me.
Yeah. So, Facebook, like any type of marketing, like direct mail too. And, do you just going, quick question for you, Judith. Out of your direct mail pieces, do you send multiple pieces, or you just send one piece to that particular prospect?
Oh, no, I will follow up. I have 3 or 4 I can follow up with. And so it's a drip. You do a different drip and you follow up. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's the same process with Facebook advertising too. So you want to have a very specific process of moving people from that awareness stage to ultimately purchasing, and not skipping all these specific steps. So, so you want to have, it all starts with what we talked about at the beginning of the show, was content. And, whether that's directing people back to a blog post. Facebook has this really cool tool called instant articles now, that if you have a WordPress blog site, you can link up within WordPress and Facebook, your articles, and it can be pushed out very quickly and easily and read super quickly. So, the whole goal of Facebook, and from their standpoint, is all about, they want their community to be happy, and they want to keep them on Facebook as much as possible. So Instant Articles was designed to keep your blog posts on the Facebook platform. So it loads really, really, really fast, but you're getting your whole blog post out there. And the other thing that Facebook loves, not above and beyond the Instant Articles, is videos. So videos is another great way to, at the beginning of that awareness stage, of identifying, and putting out some good, valuable content. So basically, taking a blog post, here's a great example of this. Take a blog post and turn it into a video. So now you have this content that you now are able to use in multiple medias. So you've got it on your blog, and you've got a video of your blog on Facebook. And what you do with that video or blog post is you run a very simple Facebook ad to it. And in the video case, you want to run what we call a video views campaign. So you want as many eyes on that video as possible to watch it as long as possible. And, one question I always get, well, how long should the video be? The short answer is, as long as it needs to be. there's, there's a little bit more to it than that. But I mean, if you really needed like a time frame, keep under a minute, at least during that initial stage. So keeping it very, very straightforward and to the point, because again, we're at that awareness stage. So we want to provide a couple valuable tips in that video, and then what we're able to do with that particular audience, because Facebook tracks engagement on those videos. So we can take everybody, and let's just take the video was 45 seconds. So we can take everybody that engaged or watched that video over the last week, and let's just say we've spent $5 a day. So we spent a whopping $35 to get 3,000 or 4,000 video views. And I'm just throwing numbers out there. Typically you can get a video view for less than a penny a piece right now, if you're targeting the people correctly. So, but we can take that engaged audience and then transition them over to our offer. So we've now moved them from the awareness stage to the nurture stage, where we're asking them to opt in for something. So, but again, we're not asking them to buy. We're not asking them to, we might be asking them to click over to a blog post, but we're not asking them for information even at that beginning stage. And, again, this is where a lot of people miss that mark of they want that opt-in, they want that sale as quickly as possible, but you're asking for too much too soon, kind of like that dating analogy that we talked about.
Yes, exactly. So if you have, if let's just say you have a live event coming up, let me say, for example, I have a live event in November. So I'm actually thinking about doing, so maybe I need to do some quick video clips to lead up to that. Just the tease. This is a drip, drip, drip before you do the ask, and just say, this is what's coming. As you get to your early bird kill date, would that be the concept? Yeah, okay.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, for events, I mean, a great lead-in is, videos about the event, client, people that attended previous events, custom video testimonials, having, here's the, a checklist of, what's really going to be the main core teaching at the event. What are the 5 things you need to know? So it can almost be like a cheat sheet or a guide or something that you can ask for people to opt in for. And then you can start to move to that conversion stage of, hey, there's an early bird special. Instead of, $497, it's $297. So you're moving people through a couple different stages, and then you can even get a little bit more fancy and a little bit more tricky with it as people are landing on.
Okay, so let's hold the tricky part. Let's hold the tricky part. Yep. And we'll take one more break, and then we'll come back to that.
Perfect.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207. Or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All righty, so we have actually a few minutes to go as we wrap up, but there's so much to get into. I think that a lot of people are interested on the whole Facebook scenario. And so we want to, I think, dive a little bit more into it. With me is Dan Kaufman. He's an expert in email marketing, email marketing, but online marketing, and how to get your awareness, to create the relationship, to create the conversion, and create really a multi-year relationship to grow who you are and what you're about. So we were talking about Facebook and he was and some of the ads and the trips and tips and tricks, and we were going into some of the tricks, and we had a break. So let's come back to that. On that, and Dan did mention the necessity of video. I love the idea of looking at the instant articles. Is that a special plug that you have to put on your WordPress site, or is that just...
It is a plugin, yeah.
Okay.
If you just, if you go into your website under the plugin piece and just type in Facebook instant articles, and it'll pop right up. So
okay.
It takes a couple steps, and then you go into Facebook on your Facebook page and you make sure it's connected. And then the first, they want you to upload like 2 or 3 of your blog posts. So you got to have a little bit of content. And it takes 3 or 4 business days for them to just kind of review it, make sure everything's set up. And then once it's there, I mean, as soon as you're publishing a new blog post, like we normally publish a blog post once a week on Wednesdays. So as soon as it's done, I can hit publish and it pushes it out. And I can put some ad dollars behind it, or I can just push it out to my page. So super, super simple.
So when you say, Dan, push it out to your page, is it just a post on your page, or are you paying for an ad?
It is. Yeah, it shows up as a page. It shows up as a page post. And then you have the option to publish it as an ad to a bigger and broader audience as well. So, which I recommend doing both. So you definitely want to have it out on your Facebook page. And the beauty of having it not only as a page post, but also as an ad, and because you'll get a combination of not only organic engagement and reach off of it. So if it's on your page, you'll get a small percentage of your fans that are on there that will like it, comment it, click on it, and take whatever action is necessary. So reading that blog post as an example. And if you're putting ad dollars behind it too, you're obviously going to the bigger, broader Facebook audience that now brings in the two together really, really nicely. And so as you get more engagement on both sides, you get more organic reach on both sides too, and your ads perform better.
I have a question. So, maybe you don't know, when they're using whether it's their algorithms or their robots, whatever it is, how do they decide who they push things out to?
So Facebook, it all depends on, when you set up a Facebook ad, as an example, there's multiple objectives. So you can have it for engagement. So we want people to engage with that particular post. And engagement's typically a click, a reaction, so a like, love, share, frustrated, comments, and in anything where they can like the page and click on it. So that's an engagement post. So let's just say we're targeting people that are fans of Oprah Winfrey and Tony Robbins. Just throwing in two examples out there. So big audiences. And we've now put out our instant article, and it's a 500 word blog post, and it's about XYZ, the 7 things you need to know about being productive in 2017. And perfect for that particular audience. So we've now published that. We put $5 a day to that, but our objective is for people to engage with that. So Facebook's going to take that broader audience and picture it as a piece of a pizza. So you've got this big circle, that's your audience. And, so we start slicing and dicing that pizza up, and now you have the slice of that particular pizza that is your audience that's most apt to engage with that particular ad. So Facebook starts to, within their algorithm, they know which people are more apt to engage with an ad. They know which part of an audience out of that broader audience is going to click on an ad. They know which part of that audience is going to comment, which is going to opt in for like a conversion. And watch a video. So they kind of slice and dice that audience based off of what our objective is. And that's what's pretty, it's really cool, but it's kind of scary when you think about it too, how much Facebook really knows about us. And they're really diving into the nitty gritty with that. So, so it all comes down to the objective. So if we want people to engage, it's going to find that slice of that pizza, if you will, of that audience that's most apt to actually engage with us.
Which is
Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, which is the essential thing going in. But
exactly.
So what the bottom line is, though, what people need to understand is they need to have a game plan as they go into these things, and not to do it willy-nilly. Whether it's a one-shot deal or you're going to have a campaign, which is what I'm taking away is that you've got to have some kind of a campaign to go through it.
Process.
Yeah. And so you plan it out on those things. Yep. And if you're trying to get people to, if you're leading up to, I think most authors would be interested, for example, in a launch of a kind of a book. Yeah. So how far out should they be starting just to start seeding, feeding, knowing before the time frame? And then one of the things that certainly came out is to step away from doing everything on one day. But once you roll out your launch, you plan it on as a rolling issue. You keep it going.
Exactly. And, from that standpoint of kind of planning out that launch, honestly, the sooner the better. So especially at that awareness stage, and let's just say your book's, planning on launching in 2 months. Now is a good time to get started. If even 6 months from now is a good time to start pushing out some content. And you're not necessarily teasing the book. You want to start doing that a little bit closer if we're looking at that 6 month time frame. But as you get closer into that 6-8 weeks out, now you can really start teasing the book a little bit and, throwing, just dropping some, lines of the book. Here's, here I've got a couple. And the beauty of social media too. And let's just say you're still deciding on like the cover of the book. Have your audience engage with you on that. Help them, have them help, make it a contest. Because Facebook especially is all about social engagement. And if you can get your users and your fans and everybody on Facebook to engage with you and help, it shoots you up the rankings in Facebook's algorithm, so your content's shown to more people. But people love that stuff. And guess what? When they feel like they're part of something like that, guess what they're going to be doing when your book launches? They're going to be buying, and they're going to be telling people about it.
Which is exactly what you want done.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what you want done.
So engaging your audience. In fact, we're doing that with a particular client right now. They're launching an ebook, and it's like, okay, well, help us name the actual ebook, and then we'll have the actual cover drawn up, and we'll have 3 or 4 options, and we'll be giving some stuff away too. So I mean, it's all about user activity and just getting people engaged and getting excited about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So, and then when it's over, don't drop them. Don't keep them.
Absolutely, continue to follow up with them and engage with them. And, because again, Facebook's such a social platform. I mean, and very much like email too. I mean, if you spend the time to grow an email list, don't just, continuously, drip email on them until your book launches and then, okay, now the book's launched, forget about them. Still deliver good content and still deliver emails to them on a regular basis. You don't have to do an email a day, but do a piece of content once or twice a week on social media and email. Something that's manageable, just because that way you're staying at the top of their mind. And, the more you can be at the top of somebody's mind and being in that awareness stage when they need or they're ready to do something, or your book comes up or your product or service comes up in a conversation, guess what? You're going to be at the top of their mind and they're going to recommend you.
Which is what you want. Okay, so Dan, we've got about 40 seconds left. What is the biggest mistake people make with Facebook advertising?
Expecting too much too soon.
Got it.
Making sure you don't run it on emotion. Look at the numbers. It's very much a numbers game. So don't expect to put an ad and get immediate results tomorrow. It's a process.
Yeah, and that's what happens. All right, with that, how do people get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Well, and we didn't talk about this, Judith. I have the ultimate Facebook ads guide that I'd like to offer everybody. And, so I'll give you this and we can put this in the show notes too, but you can literally text this in. So the text is 616-432-2445. And you just text the word guide, GUIDE.
All right. So
and it'll walk you through. I'll get your name and email.
Say it one more time.
616-432-2445 and text the word guide.
All right. So there you got it. Everyone, 616-432-4445. Put guide in and you'll be on your way. Thank you so much.
Yep.
But didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week,